Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be taking a little break from the normal formats to check out the festival Tales of Kaldheim. This is essentially a pre-constructed deck kind of format, so we're going to be checking out some lists that Wizards have built. They're probably quite janky and low budget, most likely. Not particularly good most of the time, from my experience, but, you know, sometimes it can be a fun format, so we're going to check it out. Reason being, when we actually get our 3 wins, we get alternative arts, so we get the Asika God of the Tree and Prismatic Bridge side of things, as well as an alternative art. Asika's Kitty Cart, and we also get Toski, Bearer of Secrets. Usually the only way to receive these alt arts is by playing these events, and honestly, I think that the Kaldheim alternative arts look dope. So, I'm going to be putting my money in. It's really not worth playing unless you actually want these alternative arts. So essentially, I'm paying for 3 alternative arts for 2,500 gold, which is 2.5 days worth of grinding, essentially. But I do also get to play in the format. So whatever that's worth to you is to be determined, I guess. So there's a couple of decks I do want to try out here. I've had a little look at them. I think we're going to be starting with the Loyal Companions. And the reason why I want to play with this one is because it has Masswood Nexus and Rin and Siri joined together. And this is a combo that I've actually wanted to try out, but I don't own enough Rin and Siris to really make the deck myself. So we're going to be playing with this, hopefully pulling off that combo anyway, and seeing how we go. Every time we get a win with one of the decks, we'll switch over to another one to keep the variety going. So we're not just going to be playing one deck today. The other one I really want to play around with is this one. It's Gruul Legends, essentially. I imagine Kolvori is the reason why this deck exists in the first place. So this build around gives you Kolvori as a 2/4 who gets +4/+2 and has vigilance as long as you have 3 or more legendary creatures, including themselves. And you also get to essentially mini collected company for legendary cards, except for, you know, they go into your hand and you only get 1, and it's only legends. So really not collected company at all, but still. Anyway, it just kind of looks pretty cool to me. Does it have... Doesn't have the way to get the Prismatic Bridge in, right? There's no white mana in here? I guess you could do Gigantha. Yeah, you play a Gigantha, that allows you to get Prismatic Bridge, and then every single turn you get one of these cards. It's not exactly like, you know, hitting so far enough of a Prismatic Bridge is so amazing, but still... It could reveal quite some stuff. We get to play with Toski as well. Card I'm yet to play with all the same. And then the third deck, I don't really know what we're going to be playing. Maybe we'll get through these 2. If we lose constantly, then maybe it will only be these 2. But yeah, we'll leave the third one as a little bit of a surprise, I suppose. So yeah, if you do enjoy the content, then make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get to some gameplay with the Loyal Companions list. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. You go first. We have only green mana off the Fabled Passage, but it does get us into an Elysian Caryatid from there. We'll see where it goes. I mean, green-white is our base colours anyway, and we've kind of got that fixed. We can put a takedown to the ground if we really want to. Probably shouldn't be giving our opponent clues as to what we are, but I guess the sleeves do that for us anyway. I don't know what City of Brass says, but... I'm sure it means something to our opponent. Okay, so we get to go Elysian Caryatid. You make core warriors. Yeah, they're not actually cats and dogs unless you got the Masswood Nexus out. We don't have any cats or dogs for this. But, you know, we can still produce some off of it, and getting it down nice and early is still pretty decent. So they named white with this one. Red-white, so it's the Magda list, I guess? Let's put you on red so we have all colors available. I think we are safe to go with Rin and Ciri here. Wondering if they have like Demon Bolt, which I think does 4 damage to a creature. We'd much prefer to put something else down before it, but if that were the case, my first time casting. You were here with me, guys. Gadrak. And another Rin and Ciri. Alright, well, at least... Can't attack, but it can block. At least we have... God, this deck is so bad. Let's do this. This creates 4 creatures, so that means that Elysian Caryatid can now deal 4 to this. Then we can... we probably want to keep that rather than make a land drop, I think. Let's game for 5. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. At least we can deal with artifacts and enchantments, and we've got a pretty decent board that our opponent's going to struggle with, and we can answer our opponent's next threats. So I think this deck has one of the Mythic Dragon that sees a lot of play. Shatterskull Smashing, okay. It's not too bad. Ooh, Pack Leader is a nice pickup, actually. Yeah, so now we're getting +2/+2 on the Rin and Ciri, so swinging in for 8. Artifacts and enchantments, not really allowed to survive. I think we're probably in a good spot on this one, because this deck really wants to make treasures, and kiddies really want to knock them off the mantelpiece, so, you know. It's pretty good. In fact, you can see them knocking over all the furniture right there. And, you know, Pack Leaders just want to be loved. He'll be our loyal champion. Yes, he will. Alright, so we got our game done. I feel like we got it too easy, to be honest. So let's go for another game with this deck. Alrighty, on the draw. This hand... I want to call it garbage. And I think I'd be right to do that. If I knew what the sleeves were, what this meant, then I would be able to make a better decision. It does have removal. It does have artifact and enchantment destruction, but that's really all it's got going for it, I think. Well, we can play Gilded Goose. We can pump up some Selfless Savior stuff, and we've got Masswood Nexus. Let's give this one a shot. I think we're going straight for Goose. What was the blue-white one? Oh, it's the flying one, isn't it? They're going to probably have plenty of Selfless Savior hits, so let's try and get down Masswood Nexus early, I think. Open up the possibility of 3-drops here as well. Because perhaps like an early lead the Stampede, refilling and getting some god tier draws might be just what we need. So there's a Watcher of the Spheres giving flyers cost reduction. That's one of those where we'd really love a Kabira takedown. So we could have gone like land, Gilded Goose, and then off the Goose's mana, killed the Watcher, and that could have really hurt them here, but wasn't meant to be. We've still got lands here, we've got plenty of mana, honestly. And we're not going to use Gilded Goose to get out Selfless Savior here. I'd much rather use one next turn to get down the Masswood Nexus and see where we go from there. Raven's Warning. Yup. So this is any creature, right? That whenever one or more creatures with flying deals combat damage, draw a card. So they only draw one card off of it, which is still one more than I really wanted them to draw, but here we are. Let's get down the Masswood Nexus. Now, all of our creatures are all cats and dogs, which has several synergy upsides here, but we may never get a chance to see them, honestly. It does mean that we can... I suppose we can... Was this a bird before? It was a bird before, and now they've got Staggering Insight as well. So you can draw 2 cards. Ew. Yeah, we're losing this one. I really think that this deck is very bad. Our deck that we're playing right now is honestly atrociously bad from a metagame perspective. No creatures to get rid of the Raven's Warning, so our opponent does get access to the sideboard. I did have a quick glimpse at our opponent's sideboard, and the only thing I really took in was Alrund's Epiphany exists, so there is that. Yeah, without anything to target here, that kind of seems a bit weak. 1, 2, so I could play Selfless Savior here and cry, mostly. Mostly we could cry at how much better our opponent's hand is than ours. And step opts. I just don't know how our deck in particular ever beats this hand. It's like if we'd have had the draw that we wanted early, which was Kabira Takedown on Watcher of the Spheres, it still wouldn't have stopped the Raven's Warning or the Staggering Insight, so our opponent is still gaining insane card advantage. And in fact, by not blocking this bird, I give my opponent whatever this Chapter 3 gets them right away, so I think we lost on turn 2. Truly do. Because I really don't know what we draw here that's good. 1 to the top. Perhaps they double attack and we draw a Feline Sovereign, which allows us to kill the Staggering Insight. Maybe that's our hope for this game. Glorious Anthem. I think that was a sideboard card off the top of my head. I mean, just look at this. How do you beat this? I'll trade 1 Gildigoose. See where we go from there. I'm just a top deck away from scooping, though. Yeah. This deck's garbage. Alright, I shouldn't have given it more time in the sun than I did, to be honest, so let's go to the next one. Alright, we go first, and we got a mono-green hand and mono-green mana, so yeah, we're going to keep this one. What's the black for in our mana base? I'm honestly not sure. Is it for just casting the Prismatic Bridge? That can't really be the reason though, right? Why have we got the pathway? Because I don't see why you'd ever put this on black, because the only way we're going to cast a Seeker is if we get Gigantha out, right? I've got to be missing something. I guess the Seeker gives all creatures the ability to add chromatic lands, chromatic mana. Opponent is on... Ooh, look at these sleeves. Oh, they look dope. How do I get my hands on them? Wizards, I want to give you money. Tell me how. Alright, Maya Triton. Yeah, this is the blue-black snow zombie kind of list. We are going to go with... I think we're playing down a Seeker as a creature first. We could go for Inscription of Abundance to fight. Doesn't really seem appealing to me, to be honest, though. So I think I'd much rather... I mean, we could trade now. I don't know. I think I'd much rather just have the ramp here, like we're at 6 mana next turn. Which means we can Inscription and do some crazy stuff. We have a 4-drop to play in case our opponent does kill a Seeker and we lose our extra mana. Doubt they attack here. And there's a Garlia. So, like, I can go Toski and I would draw a card and replace whatever I got in with here. It's whether or not I want to do that. Certainly don't want to put this on black, though. So, fights. counters. Kind of feel like we just get down Toski. I could trade a Gallia for a Maya Triton. It's an option, I suppose. It's either trading Sir Farron or it's a Gallia, either way. Satyrs have haste. Whenever you attack with 3 or more, you can loot. I'll do some drawing and discarding. I'm just going to get the Sir Farron into the Maya Triton. So I think because we've seen one already, let's get the other one out of the way. I want to be getting in with Toski card advantage here, right? Is this one or more? Is it basically for each? Whenever a creature deals combat damage, draw a card. Alright, so I should draw for each unblocked creature here. And it does have the Murderous Rider. It can cost him a bit of life. Bit of a shame for us, but we are going to be drawing 2 cards off the Gallia. This definitely feels like such a better deck than the Cats and Dogs. Ooh, we even get to find out what it's going to be. Another land, I'm going to say no to. So let's go with Gallia. Get on in. And draw 2 cards. See if we can get something played off of this. A Rasta, no. Alright, well we do get to hold up Inscription of Abundance, so any X1s, like another Maya Triton, can get fought by the Toski. So there is that. I wouldn't mind getting the kicker though, so I could make it a 3/3 indestructible. Kind of curious how our opponent really deals with that in their deck. I can't help but feel like they've got a lot of destroy but not enough exile. Yeah, so this basically means I can Inscription with kicker. So I'm going to put 2 counters on Toski. We're going to gain life, and then we're going to make him fight. So counters, gain life, and then you fight you. Can't imagine they can do really much about this, so we're going to be drawing 2 cards again. There he goes. They do gain a little bit of life themselves. Let's see if we can increase the quality of our draw here. A shock. Most of their creatures did seem like they could be shocked. I guess you're a little bit of an exception. Honestly, I've got enough threats on in my hand right now that I should probably take the shock. Alright, yeah, this deck seems a lot stronger than the Cats and Dogs ones, by a country mile, to be honest. I think our opponent has had enough of me making slow but confident decisions. And yeah, that takes down the second win. And we got the Kitty Cats. I was hoping the Cats and Dogs would get us the Kitty Cat deck card, but they were terrible. So, you know, we had to move on to a different deck, and this Heroes of Myth one seems a lot cooler. I'm going to give this one a second shot and see if it ends up being just as garbage as the Cats and Dogs, and I've given it too much credit. Who knows? Either way, let's go for a game. Alright, no double green, unfortunately, for this hand. So the mana base is a bit sketchy. That being said, yeah, I mean, even the cards that we're going to be playing are too slow, and I'd need really good draws off the top, and by that time I'd probably get run over. Looks like we're up against the blue blacklist again, which seemed slow to us, so maybe we get time to play these cards. I doubt it though. This one seems okay. Let's go down the... I kind of like going down the Ashaya, because I think a Rasta being removed is likely to come from like Murderous Rider's Swift Ends, which will leave us with at least a 1/2 spider. More creatures as well if they use instants that don't kill us. Could be better. So, I'm not going to be putting that on white, so let's put this one on green and play Sir Farron. Means that when this attacks, another target creature gets +X, where X is Sepharon's power, so Galia coming in off of the red on this pathway means we're going to be attacking for quite a fair bit. Otherwise, Galia just comes down on her own and gets the job done anyway. We still managed to get that damage in, which is nice. So I think I just need a land at this point. If it's red, cool, we play Toralf maybe. If it isn't, it's probably a Rasta time, because we've already got the double green established. That is super not great. Alright, let's try and combat trick maybe the Euphemia, or at least just get something out of here for an inscription. I don't really like doing this, but I just feel like I have to do something here, and if this takes a Murderous Rider out of our opponent's hand, then that's probably pretty good as well, because it means we get left with the higher quality cards anyway. Yep, there we go. Opponent gets in with an Euphemia, and nothing to exile. Choose a creature type. The problem with choosing a creature type is that this deck doesn't seem to have a creature theme. So the Ringheart Crest just seems garbage. I think it's mostly Kolvori that they're actually going for with the deck like this. Let's go with Sir Farron. I don't think we want to play Thor's Hammer, Mjolnir. Another deadweight. Oof. Sir Farron just cannot catch a break. You... If I put this in the yard... Yeah, I think I just give them 2 lands. You usually take the one that's 2. God, I love these sleeves. Frantic Inventory in their graveyard's kind of doing them a favor, as if they do have another one, but I doubt there's really much I can do about that. Finally, a card. Alright, we're back to playing Magic the Gathering. So let's get an Erasta out there so we can block the Euphemia and everything else as well. Maybe not. That's some phasing shenanigans from Teferi.
Who's ready for a good time?
So draws and discards. An Egon? Is that his name? Egon? Egon? God of Death. Alright, well, we get our 1-2. Not sure if our opponent thought about that. But no attacks from them. Let's get this going. I think the card advantage is going to be quite nice here. We're actually 1 legend away from enabling it as well, so Toralf coming out will actually make it a vigilant creature, which is cool. Definitely don't need any more lands. And I definitely don't think we're attacking here either. Erasta's on the D. If it was 1 more power, I'd probably swing in at Teferi, because then, you know, we do get to 2-4 our opponent a little bit, but the option's just not there right now. Me needs more value than we've got. We are starting to durdle, though. Right, well, we get another 1-2. Cool. Erasta done the job that I wanted here. Does keep Kolvori off of that 6-6 Vigilance, but that's okay. Timuret calls are dead, yeah. Okay, so our opponent is officially doing it. An Euphemia for the Euphemia to eat as well. So would I rather look at the top 6 for a legendary creature, or just play one that I have right now? It's cost me double red and 2 to attach and unequip. Oh, to play, sorry, and equip. And then another 1 and red to detach. Doesn't seem very good. Neither does Toski, though, and neither does Toralf. It's kind of the problem we find ourselves in. Let's get you equipped, I suppose. I'm just going to go with the phase out. I'm totally happy with that. Honestly, it works for me. I think we're losing this one. I think we're just being crazily outnumbered here. Yeah, I mean, they've got a Nafi now, so all these zombies are now 3/3s, so... Yeah, maybe I once again gave this deck too much credit and assumed it was good. Maybe I'm assuming too much from these cards as well, in that I shouldn't ever assume that they're good. Because they're all bad, it's just how good they are against other bad decks. But yeah, I'm just about ready to scoop it up. I honestly don't see a world where we win this one. We're playing 1 creature a turn, our opponent's playing like 3 or 4. And they're actually like leaps and bounds better than us. There's a 6/6. Here comes another 2/2, I'm pretty sure. Yep, so our opponent played 3 creatures, I'm about to play 1. I'm going to scoop it up. I think I've had enough of this one. Let's go to the next deck. Alright, we're in, and we're going to be trying out the Is It Foretell list? Foretelling? This hand, it's up against the Rakdos stuff. I don't actually know the state of their deck, really. I guess I'll keep this because I think Bone Crusher Giant should be relevant enough. So let's just go Mountain and go. So I can do turn 2 Stomp into turn 3 Giant, giving a little bit of a cost reduction on the Volcanic Salver, or maybe making some use out of it there. That's the hope, at least, so let's see if they'll play something down that's relevant here. Their list is kind of like somewhat reanimatory, isn't it? I know they've got that one Saga that reanimates on turn 3. We can't really do a single thing about that in our deck, I don't think. Unless Raven form. No, it only hits artifacts. I think because it honestly looks like I'm going to have literally nothing to do next turn if I draw a land, which, you know, trust in the heart of the cards to know that that's going to happen. I think I want to get the Bone Crusher down as a threat, so might as well get the Stomp out as well. And then our hand is complete and utter garbage at this point. So your opponents can help themselves to it. Whatever you want, take it. It's yours. Ooh, Cosmos Charger. Foretell casts can be done on any player's turn, and we can flash that in here. Well, might as well flash it in. Let's get that done. So it costs 3 to bring your companion out, so we'd need 5 mana, essentially, to do everything I wanted to do, which is foretell and then get this into hand. This way, as it turns out, we have a chance of killing our opponent's 1/1 here. Unlikely, because I imagine their deck does run Stomps or Bone Crusher Giants, or Shocks, or whatever. Maybe even Rimrock Knights. Village Rites. Alright, well. Give them a reason to use a card they were probably going to use anyway. So let's get Karuga in. Maybe we can draw some extra cards here. Let's play you on blue, since we have a Mountain in hand and we do need triple blue for Seagate Restoration when we get around to casting that. Up to 5. One's got a Terror of the Peaks, which is no problem for us, as we have the answer. How do we want to do this? I guess we'll go with 6 to up to 2 target creatures. Seems good. Take a little bit for hitting them there, of course. And then it's 1 to foretell, and we can do it anytime we want. In fact, let's get it out of our hand right now, I suppose. So that is a card that doesn't hit our opponent's face, unfortunately. But we'll get rid of any blocker here. We've got the Skull Cairn, which 3 damage and discard a card. It's totally fine. Let's say goodbye to the Cosmos Charger. I really don't know. I mean, both are lethal, so I guess maybe Bone Crusher Giant's just the better one here, because means that if we do draw... Ooh, hello. Well, that's the thing. If our opponent did draw, like, any ground creatures, it would be harder for us to get damage in. Alright, fair enough. Well, I have learned my lesson about these decks, and the lesson is don't ever play them more than once, because that seemed fine. Any further games I play with this are going to make me hate this deck, so we're going to move on to the next one, which is probably going to be... I don't know, maybe that blue-white flying list that we got destroyed by. Maybe that'll do it. I don't know. Let's go. Alrighty then, we're in, and we've got turn 1 Raptor into turn 2 Staggering Insight. So this is just like blue-white tempo 101 right here. 2 less to cast if you control a creature with flying. So this is a turn 2 sorcery speed disperse with a card draw on it. I mean, I don't think you can get better than this, really. It'd be hard pressed to see a better hand, I think. So our opponent is on the Gruul list. So maybe I end up going Fae of Wishes as a 1/4 if this ends up getting shocked, because I think that deck run it. That deck did run it, I think. It also ran fight spells as well, so once we've got Staggering Insight attached and we get to untap, we really want to be holding up the Sajiri Shelter, because this bird right here is going to carry us so hard. Raven's Warning. Yeah, so now we get to hold up and Shelter plus Opt. We're basically going to pretend that we're being taxed by 2 mana. And the reason for that is that if we don't, we risk not drawing 2 cards a turn for the rest of the game. Opponent can't fight with the Inscription, so that's cool. We are going to be taking 5 here unless we do bounce, though. So maybe it's worth actually going for a Gust of Wind. It's hard to say. I mean, we could even just keep taking damage for a little while. It's not as though we're taking that much damage, and our opponent's not really going to be gaining life either. Temple of Enlightenment. Yeah. It feels weird, but I think I take the risk on this particular turn just to set them back constantly. And then we even get to Opt here. Opponent's not dealing enough damage for us to care about holding back for blockers. They basically just entirely skipped a turn. Perhaps they can get a land off the top with Rada. I'm going to go for a Scryland from hand, see where they put that. To the bottom. It was probably a land then, if we had to guess. Alright, so they're going to get in for a little bit. I'm actually going to put that on top, because that means I can Gust of Wind plus Sajiri Shelter here. So I can basically do the exact same thing I did last turn. Except for I don't take the risk. So let's get in. Draw some cards. And yeah, like if they get to 1 more mana, now they can do Inscription, put counters on. Let's go. Honestly, I don't even know if we care about tap lands at this point, even if they do Scry. Is this going to be the slowest win of all time? Just you wait and see. Opponent's finally going to get in some actual legitimate damage, though. Because I think we're going to put this on white so that we can go Raven's Warning. Probably should again be drawing cards and playing these post-combat, but I'm a weirdo, so here we are. Let's get in with the Battlefield Raptor. Could also see Watcher of the Spheres being a legit play there as well. Mostly because when this bird entered afterwards, it would get a +1/+1, and that speeds up our clock. But our clock is pretty disgusting as it is already, I would say. Not disgustingly fast, but... Opponent's got a shock. I am fine with that. Not disgustingly fast, but disgustingly irritating, and I don't think our opponent can really deal with it. They need a Raster, I guess, at this point. So that they can have that reaching creature in play. Okay. So a fair bit of damage. Our opponent's finally starting to get some pressure on us. Kogler into the bin. That's 9 damage. So what you're saying is I'm going to need some blockers. And that was a land off the top as well. Fire Prophecy, cool. So that's where the Sojiri Shelter comes in, and we give that protection from red. Whiffing that for no card advantage. So we're at 3, 4, 5. It's only 6, so no Amiria's Call just yet. Let's get in for some damage and draw 2 cards. They do have the Inscription, and they do have the Shock. Otherwise, they've got Legend Ruling Sir Farron and a Grumgully, neither of which are really going to do much, so... something to keep in mind. Let's go with Plains. I guess I could set them back again with a Gust of Wind. Let's get Radar out of here. Radar's actually ready to start activating as well, which is not ideal. I get to check my sideboard next turn as well, but I also have these Amiria's Calls I could be playing. This is a bit of a weird spot to be in. Watcher's just dead. Let's go Opt and then see if I want to go Raven's Warning. I mean, to be honest, this is all I really need, like, Amiria's Call into Amiria's Call into Amiria's Call. But I can't imagine I need more than 2. So let's just go bottom that. Play you. You still die to a shock, but I gain 2 life. Which I think is worth just as much. But we also get to trigger the Chapter 2 on Raven's Warning with this pathway, whereas this leaves us with nothing when it dies. Alright. They finally got the Inscription, but that does tap them out. 6, okay. So, yeah, put a card on top from our sideboard. 2, 4, 6. I mean, this is pretty good. Shatter the Skies. It's a thing. I think I'll just take Alrund's Epiphany, to be honest. And then we will draw it from combat. Yep, still know their hand. I don't know why they had to stitch that piece of tech on, but here we are. Let's take an extra turn. Card from outside. We're going to make it a... yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? Glorious Anthem. It's probably not going to matter. It's got Amiria's Call. Make them indestructible. And those are lethal in the air. We do have to chump block Rada, though, because I think she's going to present quite a lot of damage here. The Toski, so they get one redraw. They get rid of Sir Farron. That's the luckiest hit of all time. So what are we doing here? Like, any block we make is just going to get shocked off. So let's take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's just fine. Yeah, need to force them to have more than what they have. They do get to draw for it, so... 2 red, though, I don't think means that they can 6s here. Could be wrong. Be a good game if they killed me right here. If you have it, you have it. Otherwise, 1 angel plus the birds is enough. And it looks like it was. That was a cool game. Wasn't exactly the lines of play that I expected from this deck, but here's what it is, I suppose. On that note, though, I think I'm going to leave it off here, guys. I'm a little bit strapped for time today, so it might be on the little bit of a shorter side for the video. I haven't really checked the timing on this one. But, you know, we got four good games in and, you know, a couple of more average games in. Good means I won, you know. You know the rules, don't you? You should at this point, I suppose, but... Yeah, so my verdict is all these decks are really bad. It's just... Yeah, if they draw in the right order, then they look pretty good. So don't play them for too long if you win. Move on to another one quickly. I couldn't honestly tell you which one's the best deck out of all of these. My suspicion is that this one is. I don't know why. I just get the feeling that this one's maybe the best. It's got lots of removal. I think that's probably why I like it more than the rest, because some of them, especially things like Loyal Companions, like their removal is Kabira Takedown, and it's stuck in their land base, basically. So if you need to use this as a land, then you're screwed. And if you want to use Rin and Ciri, you've got to untap with it first, and that can die to Demon Bolt. So there's a lot that can go wrong with a lot of these decks, and if a lot can go wrong, that means it will go wrong when I play it. You know the rules. But yeah, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed, and I'll end it off here. Take care, like and subscribe, and have a good night.